Hey guys, um, I figure I'll just kind of take where I left off and continue the story. And then again, if we have any questions or anything along the way that you want to direct at me, want me to ask or answer, I'm sorry, along the way, then I'll take breaks and answer those questions as we go. Okay. Um, so when we left off, I graduated high school. I was graduating high school. 3.68 cumulative average. Might I add, that's with the messed up second semester, my sophomore year. But I was pregnant, I didn't know it. Found out shortly after. I started throwing up in secret and figured it out, but I also graduated in June, and that's when my birthday is. So I started making plans to get out of the house as soon as possible because I really didn't want to face the repercussions of them finding out that I was having a baby. So at first I moved in with Amy, or Robin as you know her. She still lived with her mom. She had like the whole attic of the house as her own, and I stayed with her for maybe a month or two until I started kind of looking around. I figured I was going to need some kind of a job or some kind of support system. So I linked back up with a lady named Erin who I used to watch her kids. I babysit her kids a lot for her. She was out in the valley, but she moved to an apartment over by the mall. And we made an arrangement that she would pay me a little bit of cash a week and give me free room and board to be there for her kids, which worked out for me because I was pregnant and getting more pregnant by the minute. And I wanted to at least have a safe place to go. Well, she turned out to be a pathological liar and a psychopath. So, after a few months there, things were getting worse. She was a terrible, disgusting, dirty person. And I figured out that I did not want to have a baby in that apartment. I mean, I found like old cookie dough in her closet, and I think I saw her take one shower in the, what is it, 4 or 5 months I lived with her. So she was terrible, and she was having multiple sex partners, not showering, and I felt like it was a disgusting, dirty environment to bring my baby into. So I got to talking with my brother, who in the book is my older sister, and yes, he is gay, and that's okay. It doesn't bother me at all. Nothing. Nobody's sexual preferences actually affect me in the least, and that's the way the world should be at this point. We're all I think making too much of it, but anyways, I moved in with my brother and his boyfriend and his boyfriend's mom and her girlfriend, and they were really nice. They gave me my own room. Um, they got me a crib and we got it all set up, and the um, basically I ended up my water broke at their house, and we went to the hospital and had a baby. 23 hours of labor. And yes, I did get an epidural with that one, and I was not sorry about it at all. It was one of the hardest things I ever did, pushing that first one out. But, anyways, so I brought the baby home, and while I was kind of convalescing and trying to get back up on my feet again, the kids that I was watching, Aaron's ex-husband, Jack, his dad, the kid's dad, contacted me, and he basically let me know, that they were going after her for custody because she's a psychopath, and did I want to move into their house and and help, be the nanny for their kids. And now along the way, me and Jack developed a romantic relationship. Um, So I decided, yeah, it would be a great idea. I moved in there, and everything went good for a few months. Now, Jack was as hardcore as they come. I did not know that at the beginning, but I soon found that out. Um, Jack was on meth every day, a lot of it. And of course, I started doing it. I decided to stop breastfeeding after about 3 months with my first son, and I started doing meth pretty much every day. A little bit at first, but it escalated pretty quickly. At this point, I was still only snoring lines. That's the only way that he did it. He was one of those other people are nasty kind of tweakers, which was really weird. Um, but as a result of this, and I don't know if any of you have ever tried to deal with a relationship when you're both on meth, but it's really hard to work things out and to not have differences all the time. So we fought a lot. He got physical with me. I mean, like drug me down the hall by my hair, smashed me into the wall, and I decided to move out of his bedroom. So I moved to the couch downstairs, but I stayed in the house because the kids needed me and I was really close with them. Um, there's 3 of them, by the way. Now, at this time, Jack lived with his mom and his cousin Wade. Wade had his own room in the house as well. Wade saw what was going on, and we had talked a little bit. He was kind of reclusive, but we talked a little bit when I saw him, and of course he got high too. But he was a lot sweeter of a person, and he started sneaking me like sweet notes and stuff, which turned into love letters. So even though it looks like I dated someone's cousin and then cheated on him with his cousin or whatever, that's not what happened. We were completely split up. I was out of his room and we were talking for a little bit before we got romantically involved. But me and Wade were actually together for, God, I want to say like 3 years, maybe 4. We ended up really hitting it off, and we eventually moved out of that house and moved into our own little cheesy apartment. And then I think that's when we ended up moving with Wendy at first, because they found out we were seeing each other. They threw us out, and we needed some place to go. I ended up okay. I remember having it. It comes back to me as I go. So we were on the streets for a little bit. I had nowhere to go, and I had my baby, so I called my mom. Now, at this point, I did tell her that I was addicted and needed some help, and she let me move back in the house with the baby, which didn't last for very long. We ended up fighting. The circumstances I can't really talk about on here, but I will talk about in my book. But she ended up throwing me out just a few weeks later and basically telling me I couldn't take my baby with me. So that's how she ended up with getting custody of my first son. And so Wade and me hit the streets again, and then we ended up at Wendy's house, and Wendy took us in and we lived with her for several months. And of course, this is when we decided that we couldn't really afford our habit. Now, I started working at Payless Shoes at this time, so we had a little bit of money coming in, and we were paying our rent and everything. But I wanted to do more because I wanted to get high for free. I didn't want to waste all our money on getting high. I wanted to be high all the time, especially at this point. I'm hurting. I'm using it as an excuse to get high, which I know a lot of us have done, blaming our problems, our addiction on our problems, and we know it was a choice, and I knew that at the time, but I still covered it up by using my pain as a reason to continue to get high and escalate stronger and stronger. Now, this is when we ran into the runner for the Mexican mafia. And at first we were just buying from him, but I realized he was just a runner, and I told him I wanted to talk to his boss. Now, Wade was more passive. He would kind of deal with some of this stuff, but he did not have the kind of we call it tweaker balls that I had. I didn't care. I wasn't scared of anything, not when I'm high, not at all. And I made a deal with their one of their bosses that we would start running from. We would front out an ounce, sell it, come back with the agreed upon money, and then front out another one. It happened quickly. I mean, it went from nothing to dealing with probably moving between 4 and 8 ounces a day, between 4 and 8 trips back and forth to him a day. Of course, there was plenty to get as high as we wanted to, and my intake went up to about 2 8 balls a day, which is a quarter ounce. Um, uh, and this, of course, is when I started smoking. I started smoking with him, and um, you burn through a lot of it when you're smoking, and especially because it's something to do with your hands. It's just like smoking cigarettes. The actual act of smoking becomes another addiction. So you'll be higher than you can even imagine, and you'll still be wanting to smoke some more because it's like a satisfaction that you're gaining from it as well. Um, Now we went on like this for a while, and at one point, um, at one point there were some issues with the product. It started to get a little bit shoddy and not as good a quality. And I called him out on it one time, and he replaced it for me. But the second time around, it seemed like maybe he started to do his own product or something because he started acting weird. And the second time around, he refused to replace it. He said, "I just want my money. You have to give me my money. This is how it works." And I was able to sell some of it, but I was telling people it's not as good. I don't know what's going on. And I ended up short. So at this time, right in the middle of all of this, I got in a big fight with Wendy. She had some like bipolar disorder and stuff. She was a good person inherently, but she was not the type of person that should have been using speed, and we were giving it to her for free, and it caused kind of a psychotic break for her, and me and her got in a big huge fight over literally almost nothing. And she tried to drag me by my hair out of the house, and I held on to the wall, and I grabbed my dope and my money and my shoes and a few clothes and packed a bag before I would leave the house. And then she goes and tells me, "Well, Wade can stay here, but you have to go." Well, obviously, at this point, Wade is my husband. We actually got married along the way, and he wasn't going to leave me out on the streets by myself. Um, and at least at this point, we had a car. And so we kind of hit the road, and we were in the car and bouncing from house to house. Um, Now, what happened next gets a little bit shocking, and I'm going to close for today. So we were sitting homeless and living in our car at this point. If I go too much longer on the videos, they're really hard to upload, and they take forever, and it causes some issues with the equipment that I have. So we'll go part 2 tomorrow, and I will tell you what happened next and how we paid back the Mexican mafia. Okay, for those of you who are here every day, I really appreciate you. Remember to subscribe, like, follow, share like crazy. Let's try to get the subscribers out there. Also, I'd like to take some votes here. So if anyone wants to put an input on this, I am willing to share the introduction to my book that I've written. If you guys want to hear it, or if you'd rather wait and have it be a surprise, I'm all for that too. So let's get some votes in and tell me what you think. And in a day or two here, if you want me to, I will share the introduction to my book as well. All right, guys, I will see you tomorrow.